Dustin, thank you for saving us the 55 minutes. Caroline only gave me 30, gave you an hour. So Caroline, Luke, and Jennifer, Grace, Dave, and Libby, and Mark, and all the family. I almost don't have to say it, but the deepest sympathies from the city of Charleston, our city council who is here with us today, the entire city of Charleston. And it's such an honor to have the chiefs here and Luther's colleagues from Montgomery County in Florida. It's really an honor to have you all with us today. Thank you for being here. You know, blessed are they that mourn. Scripture tells us that, for they shall be comforted. And today we seek a measure of comfort in remembering, but celebrating the life of our friend, husband, dad, Police Chief Luther Reynolds. Thank you. Celebrate. In fact, the last meeting moments I had with Luther not long ago, he asked that we remember him in celebration. His life was worthy of celebration, a life of faith and joy and meaning and purpose, a life of consequence, a life of love. And I'm going to repeat again, as I did at council, of reading from the book of Matthew. Jesus was asked to name the greatest of God's commandments. And he replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, all your soul. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. Luther Reynolds felt that truth in his bones. He felt it in his bones, and more than any man that I have known, he tried to live it out every day of his life. His faith and his purposeful life resonated God's love. You could feel it. And he was like some kind of divine transmitter or transducer. And again, that last visit I had with Luther, couldn't believe it. He looked up at me and said, Mayor, it's not about me, it's about him. It's about him, his God. That's why he was so dedicated to his family, to his friends, to his police officers, to his city. It's why he worked so hard to keep us safe. And it's why we feel the pain of his loss, our loss, so terribly today. But Luther would not want us to be lost in grief, right? That was not his way. Luther was a man of action, a leader. And his leadership philosophy, as many of you heard many times, was pretty simple. He defined a leader as simply someone who left things better than they found it. Someone who left things better than they found it is a leader. Now, I had a little adjunct to that, a little addition, that also someone who left things better but inspired other people to do so. And I want to tell you here today that Luther Reynolds inspired me. He inspired me as he did many of you here. And as mentioned, the best day of my service as mayor, now almost 8 years, about 2,700 days, the best day was when I hired Luther Reynolds to be the police chief of the city of Charleston. When we met, I had read the resume. I knew about his experience and his professionalism. But when we met in person, I knew right away that this was someone who led with his heart and with his faith and with love. And not to imply weakness, y'all. This was a strong man, a resolute man, a confident man. Sometimes angry. He would get angry, particularly when young people were victims of senseless violence. I know that a mayor and a chief are supposed to have a good working relationship for the public good, for public safety. I never realized that a mayor and a police chief could become such close friends. And after a few years talking almost every day on the phone, that a mayor and a chief would end a conversation somewhat often by saying, "I love you, man," and really mean it. Back to that simple definition of leadership, leave things better than you found them. I believe that is what Luther would not just ask of us today, he would challenge us today. He would challenge us today that we celebrate his life by honoring its purpose, that we dedicate ourselves to leaving things better than we found them. And I know sometimes when you use that expression, you think about, fixing up a house, or you find an old car that you fix up and leave better, or a piece of broken furniture or something. But I think what Luther was yearning for was more. It was about building better relationships with people, building better friendships, building understanding amongst people, building respect for one another. And that's exactly what was the hallmark of Chief Reynolds' community policing style: respect for one another. A great American author once observed that the world breaks everyone in some way. And afterwards, many are strong at those broken places. With the loss of our dear friend, Luther Reynolds, the world, in a way, has broken us all. But by the power of his example, his decency, his courage, his faith, and his love, Luther left us everything we need to celebrate, everything we need to find meaning in grief, and in so doing, become strong at the broken places and leave this world a better place. God bless you, Caroline, and your family, and God bless all of you. Thank you.